Qatar, a country that holds the record for the highest media penetration in the Arab world, with citizens who spend more time on the internet rather than any other country in the region. Their digital presence has led to the establishment and success of dominating news outlets such as Al Jazeera and the Gulf Times for international news analysis, but on a more local scale, Doha News, Qatar Living, The Peninsula, and Qatar Tribune have collectively gained a loyal audience base. Their demographic mainly consists of people who are living in Qatar or are interested in the country. However, every news organization in the country is restricted in terms of the topics and stories they can produce. This is because news content in the country is closely regulated by the respected governmental institutions. Today, news outlets exist on social media platforms, making it accessible and convenient for readers and content consumers worldwide. With a large following based on different social media platforms, people rely on the digital presence of news outlets more than ever before, as the world is undergoing a shift from print to digital news. In the 21st century, technology devices have become a multi-generational necessity as people grow to be more globally aware. Through tablets, mobile phones, and laptops, the internet has provided a platform for people to engage with others through liking, commenting, and sharing. In its simplest meaning, audience metrics is the measurement of audience activity and engagement with digital content in order for news organizations to better understand, track, and cater to their audience. Users leave a digital footprint with every website they visit, even when they are simply scrolling through a web page and not necessarily reading it. Today, metrics and measurements have impacted news judgment significantly. Recent technology advancements aim to accurately measure audience engagement by accessing camera and audio features, for example.
From a positive perspective, I would say tracking the audience helps channels serve their audiences better.
With technology being heavily integrated in people's daily lives, it presents a threat to the average user's privacy. It is difficult for people to fathom the concept of their personal information being exposed and accessible to these news organizations. It begs the question, who else has access to their personal search history and information? What will the future look like, and to what extent is audience metrics ethical?
We as viewers, we rarely think about being tracked. We rarely think about being measured. I don't think they are aware that there is much data is being collected about them.
Established in 2008, ILoveQatar.net is a media organization built by the community for the community. It is one of the first digital native networks in the country.
Majority of the demographics are in between, let's say, 20 to 40 years old age, right? But at the end of the day, what we are doing is essential for everyone, whether you are teenagers, whether you are over 50s.
The organization aims to provide its people with reliable information relevant to Qatar so they can live a good life. They create content in all shapes and forms, including articles, top 5s, videos, animations, and newsletters. Khalif Al-Haroun, also known as Mr. Q, your friendly neighborhood Qatari, founded the organization and is currently the face of it. Al-Haroun is particularly active on YouTube with 91.7 thousand subscribers and has been uploading content as the main host for many years. YouTube videos vary from recipes, events, activities, and much more. With a reputation of a fun and cool community, partially due to its multinational team, the organization strives to recognize and celebrate the present similarities and differences, and strongly believes in diversity.
Felt like there was a lot of really important, really awesome news that was in Arabic news outlets, Arabic newspapers, but because there's a lot of people here in the country that don't speak Arabic, they aren't aware. So we took the opportunity to either translate or to create custom content, just for them.
The organization refers to its website as a guide for every person living on Qatar's land. It is specifically targeted at English-speaking expats who require a local one-stop information portal. Not only does the site provide breaking news and often local feature stories, their news coverage both informs and educates the audience on significant stories happening in the country.
One of the things that we try to do is we try to fact check. We try to always share, both sides of a story so that we can give people all the information that they need so that they can come to their own conclusions.
Reported news varies from ministry-released information, Emir-related news, and other important figures, events, and services in the country. ILoveQatar also utilizes different social media platforms to engage with its audience. Besides their website, the organization is also active on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, with the highest following base in the respected order. In terms of content, they are purposely reshaped to fit each social media platform effectively. This is because naturally every platform is unique in terms of how people engage with it. ILoveQatar has experienced a significant influx in audience engagement due to their daily reported updates on COVID-19 statistics on Instagram and stories that reveal more about how many people are impacted and much more.
We were one of the first to actually go on down to the special conferences that were happening and translated everything live to the people so they knew what the rules were.
When asked how they measure success, this is what ILoveQatar had to say.
On a weekly basis, we sit down together, we take a look at the total number of engagements that we have on each article that we create. And that gives us a general indication of what people are interested in.
More specifically, the general manager has more to say about how they measure success on social media platforms as well as the stories they produce.
In terms of the audience metrics, so we use Alexa, we use Google Analytics. For the social media platforms, we use its own tool. Our metrics is not really controlling what we create, as our company's aim and the motto is already set,
Journalists and news organizations are recognizing that the audience is no longer the disregarded component that it was in offline journalism. Today, it has a clear impact on journalistic practice.
We do care about tagging, our content, so it's easy for people to find. But we don't create content just simply based on what analytics, says that people are maybe searching for.
Despite ILoveQatar's efforts in tracking their audience, there's a limit to the data they can obtain as programs have greater access to audience metrics from different media organizations.
Fundamental challenge that news organizations face is that, they are second-class citizens compared to the platforms that distribute their content in terms of audience data, right? They have data on their audience only, whereas these platforms have data on all the competing, news organizations as well.
Scholars have long debated between the type of content and information that the audience wants and what content creators release. Who has autonomy over their content and to what extent does it rely on it might compromise their editorial independence.
In an environment where the economics of journalism have become so damaged, these news organizations are at a level of economic desperation where their likelihood of ignoring the easier money of clickbait is they're not in a position to resist that. If the data tell them that this is where the revenue is, they can't leave any money on the table.
The viewers have power in that sense. However, some scholars argue otherwise, claiming that media organizations in the Arab world often have an agenda that does not cater towards the broader audience.
They may impact also a larger audience across the Arab world. They are fed and funded by businessmen, by sectarian groups, by even some of them by governments, and so forth.
Whether media organizations rely on audience metrics or an agenda, content production is a crucial aspect because it is in high demand by the public, who require simplified information and news that may interest or concern them. In the case of ILoveQatar, they have established themselves in the community as a media organization whose aim is to deliver instant, easy, and compelling content at all times, keeping their audience entertained and educated.